Yeah, Caitlin's amazing. Super amazing. She's a great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games.
The moment the WNBA refused to speak, the NBA decided it was time. For weeks, fans had watched Caitlin Clark get targeted on the court, physically pushed, fouled hard, and criticized in the media. And yet, league officials stayed silent. No fines, no suspensions, no statements. But then came the surprise. Not from the WNBA, but from the most powerful names in basketball. One after another, NBA superstars began to voice support, not in vague PR-friendly soundbites, but in bold, unfiltered praise. Some backed Caitlin publicly. Some even admitted she was already bigger than most NBA players. And others, their silence was louder than words. What followed wasn't just support. It was a cultural shift.
Oh man, Caitlin she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I probably.
It started with a casual question, one that Pascal Siakam could have answered safely. He was asked which player gets the most love from fans. He could have picked anyone, an NBA legend, a fellow All-Star, even a current teammate. But instead, he said something no one expected. He said Caitlin Clark. He didn't just mention her, he praised her as someone who, in his eyes, receives more love than even elite NBA stars. He called her a beast, smiling as he acknowledged the fanfare she brings. That was no accident. That was a top-tier NBA champion comparing a WNBA rookie to the best in his own league. And with that, the tone changed. This wasn't about men's basketball versus women's basketball anymore. This was about one player making waves across both.
Is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing, like
Obie Toppen isn't known for giving viral interviews. He usually lets his game do the talking. But when the topic of Caitlin Clark came up, his entire demeanor changed. There was no media training here, just real admiration. Obie talked about how exciting it is to see her courtside, watching NBA games and being genuinely involved with the league's energy. He described the mutual appreciation between NBA and WNBA players. But more than anything, he made it clear, Caitlin's energy is contagious. He spoke of her not as a women's player, but as a hooper, an equal. His respect wasn't loud or flashy. It was subtle, but sincere. And in today's sports world, that kind of honesty matters more than rehearsed speeches.
She's, I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally.
Tyrese Haliburton didn't mince words. As someone who shares a city with Caitlin and has gotten to know her up close, his comments hit harder than most. He called her a top 5 most famous basketball player in the world right now. Not women's basketball, basketball, period. That wasn't said for effect. It came from someone who's seen her navigate pressure, noise, and unrealistic expectations, all while keeping her focus. Tyrese highlighted how Caitlin has dealt with scrutiny she didn't ask for, and despite all of it, she's remained composed, professional, and dominant. His respect came not just from watching her highlights, but from witnessing her grace under fire. LeBron doesn't speak unless there's a reason. So when he chose to talk about Caitlin Clark, it wasn't just to ride the trend, it was to spotlight real change. He acknowledged that Caitlin is doing something rare. She's attracting new eyes to women's basketball, selling out arenas, and increasing viewership. But more importantly, she's shifting how the WNBA operates. LeBron pointed out that the league chartered private flights for the first time ever this year. And yes, he credited Caitlin's influence for that. This wasn't just about praise, this was about recognizing how one player's arrival can redefine the standard. For LeBron to say that out loud, that's not casual support. That's a stamp of approval from the sport's highest pedestal.
You were hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trae three-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous 3-point competitions.
You know Trae Young isn't afraid of competition, especially when it comes to shooting threes. But even he showed a different tone when talking about Caitlin. When asked if he'd ever do a 3-point contest with her, his answer was quick. Absolutely. But the real story was in what he said next. He reminded everyone that he and Caitlin Clark are the only two college players in history, male or female, to lead the nation in both points and assists in the same season. That's not a small feat. That's elite company. He joked that he'd need to practice more if he were to go head-to-head with her. And right there, in that moment, respect met rivalry. And it was beautiful. While others focused on highlight reels, Paul George zoomed out. He brought perspective, not just praise. He said something that many had felt but few dared to admit, that Caitlin's rise might come with resentment. Not because she hasn't earned it, but because others have been grinding in the WNBA for years without the recognition she's receiving now. Paul made it clear, this isn't Caitlin's fault. It's a result of a cultural shift she unintentionally triggered. His words gave depth to the discussion, acknowledging the emotional impact on veterans who laid the foundation. That's why Paul George's take stood out. He didn't just applaud Caitlin, he acknowledged the ripple effects of her stardom. Luka Doncic doesn't dance around answers. When asked who his favorite women's basketball player was, he said, without hesitation, Caitlin Clark. No fluff, no sidestepping, just straight truth. When the interviewer mentioned Paige Beckers, Luka didn't bash her, he simply said he hadn't seen her in the WNBA yet. That wasn't meant as shade, it was Luka saying what a lot of players think. Caitlin is doing it right now at the pro level. Her performances aren't just talk, they're happening in real time under pressure against the best. Luka respects that, and in that short direct comment, he said everything that needed to be said. Sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. When Jason Tatum was asked who his favorite WNBA player was, he simply answered, A'ja Wilson. No follow-up, no explanation, no mention of Caitlin, and for many fans, that was a shock, especially given how Caitlin has single-handedly changed the league's visibility in recent months. This wasn't about whether A'ja deserved credit, she does. It was about Tatum choosing not to acknowledge the most talked-about athlete in women's basketball. That moment didn't just feel dismissive, it felt pointed. And in a league where public praise matters, his silence became part of the story. Kevin Durant's answer created even more buzz. When asked who his favorite female athlete was, fans expected one name, Caitlin Clark. But KD went a different route. He said Angel Reese, Caitlin's most visible rival. And again, it wasn't that Angel doesn't deserve praise. It's that Caitlin is leading viewership, breaking records, and carrying the league in ways we haven't seen in decades. For KD to skip over her felt like more than a choice. It felt like a message. Some fans saw it as personal, others saw it as political, but either way, it was hard to ignore. When a voice as powerful as Durant's chooses a side, the whole basketball world notices. These aren't just shoutouts, they're reflections of a larger moment. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing in the WNBA, she's transforming it. Her presence is forcing fans, media, and even NBA players to take a side, to form an opinion, to feel something. And that's what makes her special. True greatness never creates indifference. It sparks conversation. It pushes people out of their comfort zones, and it makes everyone pay attention. Caitlin Clark isn't just the face of her team. She's the face of the league. Her jersey is the top seller, her shoes sold out instantly, and she's become a household name faster than any WNBA player in history. She's brought more people to the sport than any marketing campaign ever could. What we're witnessing is a once-in-a-generation crossover, a player who's as magnetic off the court as she is dominant on it. That's not hype. That's what game-changing looks like. Caitlin's legend didn't begin in the WNBA. It started in college, where she led the country in scoring and assists, shattered viewership records, and became the name on every basketball fan's lips. But transitioning from college star to pro icon isn't easy. Yet Caitlin has done it seamlessly, despite the pressure, the media attention, and the growing target on her back. She's proving that she wasn't just a college sensation, she's built for the big leagues. Players have come and gone, but Caitlin's arrival feels different. She's not just a scorer or a playmaker. She's a movement, one that's affecting ticket sales, media coverage, and even the way the WNBA operates behind the scenes. She didn't ask to be the face of the league, but she became it. And now, everything around her is changing. That's not an opinion. that's happening in real time. Every week, Caitlin Clark is the topic of conversation. Whether it's about being left off Team USA or taking a hard foul or being snubbed in post-game interviews, she stays at the center of the spotlight. And yet, she never complains, never lashes out. She just shows up and delivers. That calm, focused attitude under pressure, that's what legends are made of. And Caitlin is already showing the poise of a seasoned superstar. This isn't just a Caitlin Clark story, it's a basketball story, a turning point. The NBA is watching. Its stars are responding, some with praise, some with silence, and some with controversy, but they're all reacting. And that's how you know someone's making real noise. Caitlin isn't asking for the attention, she's earning it. And in doing so, she's changing the way the world sees women's basketball forever. Caitlin Clark didn't just arrive, she erupted. And she's bringing a movement with her. If this story inspired you, shocked you, or made you see basketball in a whole new way, hit that like button, subscribe to BaskXpress, and drop a comment. Tell us which NBA star surprised you the most. Your voice matters, your view helps this story spread. And trust us, you're going to want to stick around, because Caitlin Clark, she's not even close to finished.